Hare Krishna. Let's start the session. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतिसे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे। Thank you everyone for joining today's session. First of all, I would like to wish you all happy Damodar month. This month is a month of Damodar Mas. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam in this month is very auspicious. Thank you so much for giving me your association. Without any delay, we start this session. So we are in the 9th chapter of the second canto, answers by citing the Lord's version. We are starting with the 7th of sloka verse. Hare Krishna, Sri Ganesh Prabhu. That's done.
Hare Krishna. Translation. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides, but when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus feet firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance, as he was instructed. But to achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of the creation. After being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. And although he could not find anyone beside himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. Brahma was the only living being at that time because there was no other creature and none could be founded except himself. The beginning of the first canto, in the first chapter, first verse, the Srimad Bhagavatam, it has already been mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. That the Lord is within every living entity as a super soul. He initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. As already started, Brahma is the original spiritual master for the universe. And since he was initiated by the Lord himself, the message of Srimad Bhagavatam is coming down by disciplic succession. In order to receive the real message of Srimad Bhagavatam, one should approach the current link of spiritual master. In the chain of disciplic succession, after being initiated by the proper spiritual master, in the chain of succession, one should engage himself in the discharge of tapasya in the execution of devotional service. One should not, however, think himself on the level of Brahma to be initiated directly by the Lord from inside because in the present age, no one can be accepted to be as pure as Brahma. The post of Brahma to officiate in the creation of the universe is offered to the most pure living being. And unless one is so qualified, one cannot accept to be treated like Brahmaji directly. But one can have the same facility through unalloyed devotees of the Lord, through spiritual instructions, and also through the bona fide spiritual master available to the sincere soul. The Lord Himself appears as the spiritual master to a person who is sincerely in the heart about serving the Lord. Therefore, the bona fide spiritual master who happens to meet the sincere devotee should be accepted as the most confidential and beloved representative of the Lord. If a person is posted under the guidance of such a bona fide spiritual master, it may be accepted without any doubt that the desiring person has achieved the grace of Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Machidi. First two paragraphs.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1000 years by the calculation of the demigods. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. Thus he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus he is known as the greatest of all ascetics. Purport. Lord Brahma heard the occult sound tapa, but he did not see the person who vibrated the sound, and still he accepted the instruction as beneficial for him, and therefore he engaged himself in meditation for 1000 celestial years. One celestial year is equal to 6 into 30 into 12 into 1000 of our years. His acceptance of this sound was due to his pure vision of the absolute nature of the Lord. And due to his correct vision, he made no distinction between the Lord and the Lord's instruction. There is no difference between the Lord and sound vibration coming from him, even though he is not personally present. The best way of understanding is to accept such divine instruction, and Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is the living example of this process of receiving transcendental knowledge. The potency of transcendental sound is never minimized because the vibrator is apparently absent. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or any revealed scripture in the world is never to be accepted as an ordinary mundane sound without transcendental potency. One has to receive the transcendental sound from the right source, accept it as a reality, and prosecute the direction without hesitation. The secret of success is to receive the sound from the right source of a bona fide spiritual master. Mundane manufactured sound has no potency, and as such, seemingly transcendental sound received from an unauthorized person also has no potency. One should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency and either by discriminating or by fortunate chance. If one is able to receive the transcendental sound from the bona fide spiritual master, his path of liberation is guaranteed. The disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of the bona fide spiritual master, as Lord Brahma executed the instruction of his spiritual master, the Lord Himself. Following the order of bona fide spiritual master is the only duty of the disciple, and this completely faithful execution of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is the secret of success. Hare
Hare,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sagar Bhulu, the last paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Lord Brahma controlled his two grades of senses by means of sense perception and sense organs because he had to engage such senses in the execution of the order of the Lord. Therefore, controlling the senses means engaging them in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Lord's order descends in disciplic succession through the bona fide spiritual master, and thus execution of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is factual control of the senses. Such execution of penance is in full faith and sincerity made Brahma so powerful that he became the creator of the universe. And because he was able to attain such power, he is called the best among all the tapasvis. Hare Krishna.
Hare, Hare Krishna Pushkala, first paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha, the supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self realized persons freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusory existence. Purport. The troubles of penance accepted by Lord Brahma were certainly in the line of devotional service bhakti. Otherwise, there was no chance that Vaikuntha or Swalokam, the Lord's personal abodes, would become visible to Brahmaji. The personal abodes of the Lord, known as Vaikunthas, are neither mythical nor material, as conceived by the impersonalist, but realization of the transcendental abodes of the Lord is possible only through devotional service, and thus the devotees enter into such abodes. There is undoubtedly trouble in executing penance, but the trouble accepted in executing Bhakti Yoga is transcendental happiness from the very beginning. Whereas the trouble of penance in other processes of self realization, Dhyana Yoga, etc., without any Vaikuntha realization, ends in trouble only and nothing more. There is no profit in beating husk without gains. Similarly, there is no profit in executing troublesome penances other than Bhakti Yoga for self realization. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Jagannath Bhai. Hare Krishna Jagannath Bhai.
Hare Krishna. Executing Bhakti Yoga is exactly like sitting on the lotus sprouted out of the abdomen of the transcendental personality of Godhead. But Lord Brahma was seated there. Brahmaji was able to please the Lord, and the Lord was also pleased to show Brahmaji his personal abode. Srila Jiva Goswami, in the comments of his Karma Sandarbha annotation of Srimad Bhagavatam, cites quotations from Gauranga Upanishad, Gauranga Upanishad, Vedic evidence. It is the Yajnavalkya described the transcendental abode of the Lord of Gargi, and 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 that the abode of the Lord is situated above the highest planet of the universe, namely Brahmaloka. This abode of Lord, although described in revealed, revealed scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, remains only a myth for the less intelligent classes of men with a poor fund of knowledge. Here in the word Swadar, Swadrastavidasya is a very significant. One who has actually realized his self realizes the transcendental from oneself. Impersonal realization of self and supreme is not complete because it is just opposite conception of material personalities. The personality of Godhead and the personality of devotees of the Lord are all the transcendental. They do not have the material bodies. That material body is overcast with five kinds of miserable conditions, namely ignorance, material conception, attachment, hatred, and absorption. As long as one is overwhelmed by these five kinds of material mistakes, miseries, there is no question of entering into the Vaikuntha Loka. The impersonal conception of oneself just, just the negation of material personality, and it is for from the positive existence of personal forms. The personal forms of the transcendental abode will explain it in the following verses. Brahmaji also described the highest planet of Vaikuntha as Goloka Vrindavana, where the Lord resides as a cloud cohead by keeping transcendental Surabhi cows and surrounded by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. चिंतामणि प्रकर्मसु कल्पवृक्ष लक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तं लक्ष्मीसहस्रशतसम्भ्रम सेव्यमां गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमाहं भजामि. The The statement of the Bhagavad Gita, Yad Gavata, Bhagavad Gita, Yad
यद्गत्वा
Gavata, Yad Gavatana,
निवर्तन्ते
Nivantate, and Dharma Prananam Mama is also confirmed here with. Param means transcendental Brahman. Therefore, the abode of the Lord is also Brahman, confident that Brahman, non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is known as Vaikuntha, and his abode is also known as Vaikuntha. Such Vaikuntha realization and worship can be made possible by transcendental form of being. Hare Krishna.
हरे हरे कृष्ण सरस्वती text number 10 first paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Translation. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So, what to speak of the illusionary external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees. Purport. The kingdom of the God or the atmosphere of the Vaikuntha nature, which is called the Tripad Vibhuti, is the 3 times bigger than the material universes and is described here as also in the Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell. This universe, containing billions of stars and planets, is one of the billions of such universes clustered together within the compass of Mahat Tattva. And all these millions and billions of universes combined together constitute only 1/4 of the magnitude of the whole creation of the Lord. There is the spiritual sky also. Beyond this sky are the spiritual planets under the names of Vaikuntha, and all of them constitute 3/4 of the entire creation of the Lord. God's creations are always innumerable. Even the leaves of a tree cannot be counted by a man, nor can the hairs on his head. However, foolish men are puffed up with the idea of becoming God himself, though unable to create a hair of their own bodies. Man may discover so many wonderful vehicles of journey, but even if he reaches the moon by his much advertised spacecraft, he cannot remain there. The same man, therefore, without being puffed up as if he were the god of the universe, abides by the instructions of the Vedic literature, the easiest way to acquire knowledge in transcendence. So, let us know through the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam of the nature and constitution of the transcendental world beyond the material sky. In that sky, the material qualities, especially the modes of ignorance and passion, are completely absent. The mode of ignorance influences a living entity to the habit of lust and hankering, and this means that in the Vaikuntha Lokas, the living entities are free from these two things. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahma Bhuta stage of the life, one becomes free from hankering and lamentation. Therefore, the conclusion is that the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are all Brahma Bhuta living entities, as distinguished from the mundane creatures who are all compact in hankering and lamentation. When one is not in the modes of ignorance and passion, one is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness in the material world. Goodness in the material world also at times becomes contaminated by touches of the modes of passion and ignorance. In the Vaikuntha Loka, it is unalloyed goodness only. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vishnu. Next paragraph.
The whole situation there is one of freedom from the illusory manifestation of the external energy. Although illusory energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, illusory energy is differentiated from the Lord. The illusory energy is not, however, false, as claimed by the monist philosophers. The rope accepted as a snake may be an illusion to a particular person, but the rope is in fact and is a fact, and the snake is also a fact. The illusion of water on the hot desert may be an illusion for the ignorant animal searching for water in the desert, but the desert and the water are actual facts. Therefore, the material creation of the Lord may be an illusion to the non-devotee, but to a devotee, even the material creation of the Lord is a fact, as the manifestation of his external energy. But this energy of the Lord is not all. The Lord has his internal energy also, which has another creation known to be the Vaikuntha Lokas, where there is no ignorance, no passion, no illusion, and no past and present. With a poor fund of knowledge, one may be unable to understand the existence of such things as the Vaikuntha atmosphere, but that does not nullify its existence. That spacecraft cannot reach these planets does not mean that there are no such planets, but they are described in the revealed scriptures.
Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranam.
Okay.
As quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami, we can know from the Narada Pancharatra that the transcendental world of Vaikuntha atmosphere is enriched with transcendental qualities. These transcendental qualities, as revealed through the devotional service of the Lord, are distinct from the mundane qualities of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Such qualities are not attainable by the non-devotees class of men. In the Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, it is stated that beyond the 1/4 part of God's creation is the 3/4 manifestation. The, the marginal line between the material manifestation and the spiritual manifestation is the Biraja
Rajesh.
river, and beyond the Biraja, which is a transcendental current flowing from the perspiration of the body of the Lord. There is a 3/4 manifestation of God creation. God creation. This part is eternal, everlasting, without deterioration, and unlimited, and it contains the highest perfectional stage of living conditions. In the Sankhya Kanumudat, it is stated that unalloyed goodness or transcendence is just opposite to the material modes. All living entities there are eternally associated without any break, and the Lord is the chief and prime entity. In the Agama Puranas, also, the transcendental abode is described as follows. The associated members there are free to go everywhere within the creation of the Lord, and there is no limit to such creations, particularly in the region of the 3/4 magnitude. Since the nature of the region is unlimited, there is no history of such association, nor is there an end of it. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Sri Ganesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. The conclusion may be drawn that because of the complete absence of the mundane qualities of ignorance and passion, there is no question of creation nor of annihilation. In the material world, everything is created and everything is annihilated. And the duration of life between the creation and annihilation is temporary. In the transcendental realm, there is no creation and no destruction, and thus the duration of life is eternal, unlimitedly. In other words, everything is transcendental world is everlasting, full of knowledge and bliss without deterioration. Since there is no deterioration, there is no past, present, and future in the estimation of time. It is clearly stated in this verse that the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. The world, the whole material existence is manifested by actions and the reactions of elements, which make the influence of the time prominent in the matter of past, present, and future. There are no such actions and reactions of cause and effects there. So the cycle of birth, growth, existence, transformations, deterioration, and annihilation. The six material changes are not existed there. It is unalloyed manifestation of the energy of the Lord without illusion as experienced here in the material world. The whole Vaikuntha existence proclaims that everyone there is a follower of the Lord. The Lord is the chief leader there without any competition for leadership, and the people in general are all followers of the Lord. It is confirmed in the Vedas, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader and all other living beings are subordinate to him. For only Lord satisfies all the needs of other living entities.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji. Explain.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. The inhabitants of the Vaikunta planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is of yellowish color and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. Purport. The inhabitants in Vaikuntha Loka are all personalities with spiritual bodily features not to be found in the material world. We can find the descriptions in the revealed scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. Impersonal descriptions of transcendence in the scriptures indicate that the bodily features in the Vaikuntha Loka are never to be seen in any part of the universe. As there are different bodily features in different places of a particular planet, or as there are different bodily features between bodies in different planets, similarly, the bodily features of the inhabitants in Vaikuntha Loka are completely different from those in the material universe. For example, the 4 hands are distinct from the 2 hands in this world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Sagar Guru, text number 12. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Some of them are effulgent, like coral and diamonds in complexion, and have garlands in their heads, blooming like lotus flowers, and some wear earrings, purple. There are some inhabitants who have attained the liberation of Sarupya, or possessing bodily features like those of the personality of Godhead. The Vaidura diamond is specially meant for the personality of Godhead, but one who achieves the liberation of bodily equality with the Lord is especially favored with such diamonds in his body. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Pushkala, text number 13.
Hare Krishna. The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions, and all this combined together appear just like the sky decorated with both clouds and lightning. Purple. It appears that in the Vaikunta planets there are also airplanes brilliantly glowing, and they are occupied by the great devotees of the Lord, with ladies of celestial beauty as brilliant as lightning. As there are airplanes, so there must be different types of carriages like airplanes, but they may not be driven machines, as we have experience in this world, because everything is of the same nature of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. The airplanes and carriages are of the same quality as Brahman. Although there is nothing except Brahman, one should not mistakenly think that there is only void and no vegetatedness. Thinking like this is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Otherwise, no one would have such a misconception of voidness in Brahman. As there are airplanes, ladies and gentlemen, so there must be cities and houses and everything else just suitable to a particular planet. One should not carry the ideas of imperfection from this world to the transcendental world and not take into consideration the nature of the atmosphere as completely free from the influence of time, etc., as described previously. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Jagannath Guru, text number 14.
Hare Krishna. Translation. The goddess of fortune in her transcendental form is engaged in the loving service of the Lord's lotus feet, and being moved by the black beast, followers of followers of spring. She is not only engaged in variegated pleasure service to the Lord, along with her constant companions, but is also engaged in singing the glories of the Lord's activities. And of 15 translation. Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikuntha planet the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of lotus of fortune, the Lord of sacrifices, and the Lord of the universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabhala, and Arhana. Is immediate association. Purport. When we speak of the king, when we speak of a king, it is naturally understood that the king is accompanied by his confidential associates, like his secretary, private secretary, aide camp, ministers, and advisors. So also when we see the Lord, we see him with his different energies, associates, confidential servitors, etc. So, so the Supreme Lord, who is the leader of the living entities, the Lord of all devotees, steps, the Lord of all opulence, the Lord is the Lord of sacrifices and the enjoyer of the everything in his entire creation. It is not only the supreme person, but also is always surrounded by his immediate associates, all engaged in their loving transcendental services to him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Praveen bro. Namaste.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The personality of God had seen learning favorably towards his loving servitors. His, his very sight intoxicating and attractive appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddess of fortune. Purport. In the Padam Purana, Uttarakhanda, there is a full description of the Yog Pitha, or the particular place where the Lord is in audience to his eternal devotees. In that Yoga Pitha, the personifications of religions, knowledge, opulence, and renunciation are all seated at the lotus feet of the Lord. The 4 Vedas, namely Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, are present there personally to advise the Lord. The 16th energies headed by Chanda are all present there. Chanda and Kumanda are the first 2 doorkeepers. At the middle door are the doorkeepers named Bhadra and Subhadra. And at the last door are Jaya and Vijay. There are other doorkeepers also named Kumundaksha, Kundrika, Bamana, Sankurana, Sarvetra, Samukha, etc. The Lord place is well decorated and protected by the above mentioned doorkeepers. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Saraswati, text number 17.
Translation. The Lord was seated on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 16, the 5, and the 6 natural opulences, along with the other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the factual Supreme Lord enjoying his own abode. Purport. The Lord is naturally endowed with his 6 opulences. Specifically, he is the richest, he is the most powerful, he is the most famous, he is the most beautiful, he is the greatest in knowledge, and he is the greatest renouncer as well. And for his material creative energies, he is served by 4, namely the principles of Prakriti, Purusha, Mahatattva, and ego. He is also served by the 16, namely the 5 elements earth, water, air, fire, and sky. The 5 perspective sense organs, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and skin, The 5 working sense organs, the hand, the leg, the stomach, the evacuation outlet, and the genitals and the mind. The 5 includes the sense objects, namely form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. All these 25 items serve the Lord in the material creation, and all of them are personally present to serve the Lord. The insignificant opulences, numbering 8, the Ashtasiddhis, attained by the yogis for temporary overlordship, are also under his control. But he is naturally full with all such powers without any effort, and therefore he is the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Abhishek. Expect.
The living being, by severe penance and performance of bodily exercises, can temporarily attain some wonderful power, but that does not make him the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, by his own potency, is unlimitedly more powerful than any yogi. He is unlimitedly more learned than any gnani. He is unlimitedly richer than any wealthy person. He is unlimitedly more beautiful than any beautiful living being, and he is unlimitedly more charitable than any philanthropist. He is above all. No one is equal to or greater than him, nor can anyone reach his level of perfection in any of the above powers by any amount of penance or yogic demonstrations. The yogis are dependent on his mercy. Out of his immensely charitable disposition, he can award some temporary powers to the yogis because of the yogis hankering after them. But to his unalloyed devotees who do not want anything from the Lord save and accept his transcendental service, the Lord is so pleased that he gives himself in exchange for unalloyed service.
Thank you so much. We'll stop it here. I am very grateful to for all of you for giving me this wonderful association of especially in this Dharmas. Thank you so much. We will continue on Thursday at the same time, 7:30, from the next sloka, 17th sloka onwards. Thank you so much. Panchakalpatarubhyasya कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। ट्रांसमेंटल श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण प्रवीण प्रभु धन्यवाद प्रणाम। थैंक यू सो मच। अनिता माता जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम। थैंक यू सो मच। गणेश प्रभु थैंक यू सो मच। धन्यवाद प्रणाम। पुष्करा थैंक यू सो मच। जगन्नाथ प्रभु, सागर प्रभु, सुरक्षा माता, अभिषेक प्रभु, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर वंडरफुल। हरे कृष्ण।